we are live. Didn't really get good sleep last night. Been going through extreme sleep deprivation due to the directed energy torture. And as a result, my sleep schedule is all fucked up. But yeah, take a look at this. They have a red Jeep right here at the corner. And not only is it a red Jeep, it also has red wheels. So let's get the plates. This is the cul-de-sac by my house. Yeah, they've got this fucking low-life perp in a red Jeep with red wheels. Can't make this shit up. License plate JJRS100. Gangstalking fucking perp. He also doesn't have a front license plate. In California, it's a 2-plate state. You're supposed to have a front license plate. But yeah, that's no coincidence. They'll stage street theater or stimuli that you've been anchored or sensitized to along your route. So yesterday, my dad had a doctor's appointment at 9 in the morning, and he and my mother went together. So the night before, they were sleep depriving the fuck out of me in hopes of me, I guess, crashing once my parents left. I didn't even know that they were gone to a doctor's appointment until they got back home. But I was knocked out, so I wouldn't doubt these perps came into my house while I was sleeping. But they'll do shit like that. They'll sleep deprive you before an important, date or an appointment. Basically before, when I mean date, like not like a romantic relationship date or courting somebody. I was talking about like an important date, like whether it's, a really important appointment, court date, whatever the case may be. They will sleep deprive you or do stuff to you, and so you got to with me at the light or at the intersection. So yeah, just calling it out ahead of time. I'm not psychic or anything, but we'll more than likely see some one headlights or one tail light. If I wasn't speaking the truth, they wouldn't be going so hard to try to smear and discredit me. If you don't believe targeted into being gang stalked, and you don't believe targeted individuals are a thing, and you think we're all nuts, then why the fuck are you trolling and harassing us relentlessly? Like nuts, then why the fuck are you trolling and harassing us relentlessly? Like it's your job. Job. And it's a bunch of cowardly, narcissistic sociopaths, psychopaths. They do all this perp shit from the shadows, and then they pretend to be a pillar of their community, like they're a decent stand-up person. But the reality is, no mentally sound, successful, happy adult goes around in any capacity. Street perp to the highest level. Bunch of cowardly lowlives. But yeah, we already have 4 people tuned in. I know one of them is Turd Gorilla. I don't even want to mention this cocksucker, but he's like the serial killers. They like the newspapers to talk about them and write about them, and they get glee and joy out of hearing about the shit that they're doing to people. So that's why I don't really like giving it energy. But this cocksucker had the nerve to email me again the other day, and he emailed me from this sock puppet email account. It's called like Candle in the Dark MS or some shit. And he was posing as a journalist named Tanya. So at first, this quote-unquote Tanya person emails me and tells me that she's interested in interviewing me or covering my story because she's a journalist trying to expose corruption and gangstalking. Something about that email just felt very fishy from the get-go. So they start telling me like, yeah, you know, I really want to send you some donations. You know, I have like $83 left of my per diem money that I want to send you, but look at this, we already got a one headlighter right there. That's a van with the one headlight out. Let me show you. But you're gonna say I'm not targeted, and then they got the red car. Hold on, let me zoom out. Red car right there. But this is a one headlight perp already. This is the shit they do. But you're gonna tell me I'm not being targeted, right? I'm just fabricating this, or I'm delusional. This is every time I leave the house, and I called it out before I left today that we'd be encountering the one headlight perps. In California, that's a fix-it ticket. You're not supposed to be driving around with a headlight out. So let's get the plates on this low life turd. And he's looking my way too, the piece of shit. HSD Hakib Bob and Door. License plate 24774K2 on this gangstalking scumbag. But anyway, this turd gorilla was posing as a journalist named Tanya and tells me that he's interested in covering the topic of gangstalking, or she rather. And after exchanging a few emails, you know, I gave my phone number, which was a mistake, you know, because I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, we're going through extreme torture, nonstop covert harassment, and it's only a natural response to the abuse that we are enduring to not trust anybody. But these narcissistic perps use that as a label that we're, you know, paranoid, schizophrenic, or delusional. No. If we're guarded or not very trusting of people, it's because we have rightful reason not to. But anyways, after a series of like exchanges, and them, you know, making these false promises, future faking, talking about they wanted to donate money to me, I just didn't get a good vibe from this person. Something about their, like, the way they wrote and their cadence in the email, just, it was very similar to Turd Gorilla. So I tell this person, you know, like, thanks but no thanks. Please refrain from contacting me. I wish to not have any further contact with you. And so they send me this scathing email back saying, you know, I'm not going to waste the program's good money. I'm going to be in your life whether you like it or not, in some form or fashion, like something along those lines. It wasn't verbatim. I'll post screenshots of the emails, but it was something along those lines. And just total fucking weirdo. Like, who says something like that? Somebody clearly not mentally stable, and, you know, they want to project that we're the mentally unstable ones, but the reality is it's them. So anyways, right after I expressed to this Tanya person, which again was really just nerve gorilla, after I told them I don't want to have anything to do with them, and so please refrain from emailing me, I get signed up for all these all this spam email from like Mental Health Society and Autism Society and the NRA and porn sites and transgender support groups. Like, they signed me up for like at least, I don't know, like 50 different spam email accounts or subscriptions. So a bunch of spam and junk mail. mean, just cowardly harassment tactics. I bet you this coward wouldn't have the balls to say half the shit he does online to my face if he didn't have his firearms. Total loser. Coward. What's weird is earlier when I was live, I wasn't able to see anybody's comments, but they showed up in the replay, the chat replay. That's pretty strange.
Digital coupons, bonus fuel points, and more just for shopping. Simply look for the special tags on participating items to earn points and start saving today.
Yeah, my phone's hacked. Super hacked. I haven't even really been able to use it the last 2 days. Keeps like restarting on its own. If I try liking anything on social media, the like disappears like instantaneously. This is another thing they like doing, blocking your path. Stupid tactics. For those of you just tuning in, I caught a one headlight perp, just as predicted, right before I pulled up to the grocery store. Just came to get a couple things.
Remember to take the receipt and your change.
But yeah, this is a random impromptu trip. I don't really like going out in the daytime. It's hard to capture the one headlighters. Look at this red car. It's got one tail light out. See it? She had a tail light out. And then this van you see straight across, when I pulled up, it had a headlight out. Yeah, these perps try to dismiss the one headlight tactic, saying that, you know, so you see constant one headlights, what does that mean? Absolutely nothing. You know, they try to gaslight, but no, it does mean something when it's non-stop each and every time I leave the house, like clockwork, and I'm calling it out in advance. It's not because I'm psychic. It's a covert harassment tactic. It's plausibly deniable. It's cowardly. And they know it. So sick of this shit. Yeah, let me roll around and show you guys, for those of you that are just tuning in, the one headlight low life, the InfraGard Masonic clown pansy. But I'm just crazy, I'm delusional, I'm imagining it. The one headlight. See? He's trying to taunt me. And what I've noticed is in my targeting, they'll have like elderly people fuck with me or participate in the harassment, or they'll have women. It's never anybody my age or another man in close proximity to my age, because they know that if they were to get out of line, I would, you know, protect myself. They know I'm not afraid of these cowards, so they use the elderly and they use women to do the harassment, knowing that as much of a piece of shit as they try to portray me as, I still have respect for my elders. You know, it's reactive abuse. They poke and prod and poke and prod, and they're hoping that the compound effect of this happening to you nonstop is going to eventually get you to act in a manner that gives testament to the false narrative they're running about you. Peep this, the red and white color combo right here. See that? That's staged. I've said before, I get nothing but red and white vehicles. Well, red, white, and black. Orange and gematria. Orange translates to the numerical value of 33. I also get a lot of royal blue. A lot of pickup trucks. That truck had 33 in the license plate. Hopefully it captured. But yeah, that was no coincidence. I mean, they are on my ass nonstop like flies on shit. Literally. This is the manpower, just the effort they expend in doing this. It's ridiculous. All in hopes of destroying my life and getting me to commit suicide, which I would never do. It goes against my religious and spiritual beliefs, and no matter how hard life gets, it's not something that's even an option. I would never do it. So, if anything ever happens to me, look at this perp. Red bag. Again, I'll use the anchors that you're the stimuli that you're anchored to. The stimuli that you're anchored to harass you. And with me, it's mainly red. But yeah, they've been using some kind of a signal jammer on my phone, because when I leave the house and I use my phone, like the internet will work properly, social media will work properly. But when I'm at home, it's like I don't get any service in my room, especially. It's like they have some kind of jammer that they're using. And I confirmed this the other day actually with T-Mobile on the phone. In my coverage area, I'm supposed to get full service. Like, I was getting full service. I've had T-Mobile for a while now, and prior to going over, I had really great service. You know, near perfect reception at all times. And ever since the targeting went overt, my phone barely works at my house. Same with my parents' phones. So yeah, I don't know what's up with this. They've been using like neon green lately too. I guess they're trying to like sensitize me to a new stimuli, because the guy that was driving that van, he had the same neon yellowish like highlighter green vest on. That's like the third or fourth person I see today wearing them. And then the same with yesterday when I went on a really quick trip to the store. They had a woman with a headlamp on, and she was wearing the highlighter yellow neon vest. And you'll know when they're trying to anchor you to a new stimuli, because you'll see an excessive and repetitive and intense amount of that stimuli within a short period of time, is to really drive it home and anchor you, so they can later plausibly harass you with it in a plausibly deniable fashion. The other thing they like doing is having cars flashing their emergency lights. Just negative and averse stimuli. And then you see here, peep the white vehicles. Look at how many white vehicles there are. It's Gangstalking. White pickup truck, white Tesla. I get a lot of pickup trucks, Teslas, Kia Souls, Jeeps, a lot of Hyundais. Those are the primary vehicles that they harass me with. But yeah, they've got a bunch of my neighbors on the payroll. These fucking dolts. Participate in my harassment with impunity, or so they think. You know, I've been really seriously considering going back to school and getting a law degree and suing the government myself, because pro se I don't think is very smart. You know, you only get one shot to do it, and you want to ensure that you do it right. You know, haste makes waste. If I go to law school and officially become an attorney and sue them, and then pull evidence together with other people who are experiencing this, it'll hold more weight. I'm not schizophrenic. A doctor already ruled it out. You know, don't think everybody's against you. You know, sometimes even if you are being targeted and these doctors are against you and they're being told shit, as long as you do your due diligence and document, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, you know, things don't always turn out the way you think. You know, for the most part they do in a negative fashion. But you know, the doctor that I currently have now, he's a psychiatrist. He told me, no, I don't think you have schizophrenia. You don't meet the DSM criteria for it. I'm like, I know. So if he wants to deny it at any point in the future, I have him recorded saying that it's in his opinion that I'm not, because I'm not. Nor am I bipolar. That's another bullshit false diagnosis. I know I'm not bipolar. I can't say how I know that, but I just know. Time will tell. All in divine time. But anyways, For all the naysayers out there, suck a dick. I really don't care if you believe me or not. I'm not here to prove a point to anybody. You guys don't pay my bills, and your opinion of me doesn't change the fact that I'm being targeted. So I can go live at any given hour of any given day and show proof effortlessly, just like I did today. I seldom leave the house in the daytime. Other perps have even, said this themselves, Eliyahu home. I don't like bringing up these perps, these agents. People develop an emotional attachment to them because, they like them for whatever reason, or he edits great videos, whatever the fuck. But this motherfucker even said, targeted Tony never goes out in the daytime. And it's true, I don't like going out in the daytime, and it's not because I'm scared. It's because, again, my parents don't believe that this is happening. They refuse to be open-minded, to their detriment. And so if they're going about their everyday lives without taking preventative measures like securing the house or not leaving while I'm gone, because there's really no need. They're both, my mom's always been a homemaker, but, my dad's retired now, so there's no reason for them to leave. But for some reason, whenever I leave the house in the daytime, they get the itch to fucking leave and go out. It's the weirdest thing, I've talked with another TI about this, and he said that he encountered the same thing. He didn't really like leaving the house if no one was going to be home. And so, because these perps do break in. And so he noticed that on times where he would leave, like during the daytime, all of a sudden, the family he was living with would get the urge to want to leave too. My parents are literally always home. Outside of going, my dad goes to the gym in the morning, or they'll go to the grocery store or doctor appointments. They don't really go anywhere. They're always fucking home. Now that my dad's retired, so it's just bizarre. I'll leave or go to do something in the daytime, and they fucking get the itch to leave. They get cabin fever. So again, I don't care who believes me or not. I'm really going through this. This was an impromptu trip today. Yesterday when I went out at 4 a.m, that was an impromptu trip. I'll make that live stream public, and I called out that there would be a one headlighter. And sure enough, there was. I'm 37 years old, living with my parents. If I was an agent, why the fuck would I be living with my parents? Does that make any sense? Secondly, if I was an agent, I would be in way better physical condition than I am now. For being law enforcement, whether it's local or federal, you're supposed to be in good shape. I'm not in good shape by any means. Due to the directed energy attacks, I've been sedentary and haven't been taking care of myself. With the stress and just the pain from the directed energy attacks, working out is the last fucking thing I want to do. I tried starting to work out in August, I believe. It was either August or September, like August 1st or September 1st. And, I went on a quick 4-mile brisk walk, and it was torture. I could barely make it halfway. I had to stop a bunch of times, and it's not normal. In the beginning of my targeting, I was working out when we were evacuated and staying in a hotel, and I was still able to run on the treadmill, run on the elliptical, lift weights, without really any issues. But that's because my targeting had just started. Now that I'm 4 years almost into it, this February 26th will be 4 years. The compound effect of nonstop, relentless exposure to EMF, ELF radiation, it's taken a toll on my body. My body feels like what I'd imagine an 80-year-old professional fighter would feel like, or a stuntman. But anyways, again, it doesn't matter to me who believes me or not. I know what I'm going through. God knows what I'm going through. Real TIs don't try pulling evidence together with other real TIs. They don't speak truth about this program. I've never once deviated from my story. And, if you want to be believed, you have to tell the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it might be, no matter how embarrassing it might be. And I've been an open book. If I've shared that I applied to the sheriff's department at one point, if I shared that I had, the sheriff's tattoo in my mouth, or, the pyramid on my forearm, it's because I'm transparent. I figured someone would eventually see it. I didn't have to, because no one did until I called it out. But, I just figured the way these perps dig and, they have access to your records and shit, I didn't want it coming out down the road, white pickup truck. I didn't want to coming out further down the road that, you know, Tony had applied to the sheriff's department at one point. So I was an open book about it. You know, I have nothing to hide. But I'm not a cop. At one point in my life, I did have great respect and admiration for them, but any contempt or disdain I feel towards law enforcement is well earned at this point, based on how they've comported themselves, and it's based off of personal experiences I've had with them. You know, good cops, there's no such thing as an active good cop on the force. I don't care who this offends. If you're a good, virtuous, altruistic individual, you leave the force after the first 2 years, after being privy to all the corruption and abuses of power that take place, and crimes, actual crimes being committed by your by your um by your peers. So, you know, I've said this before, it takes it takes a narcissistic, sociopathic, corrupt personality, someone who's complicit to corruption, to remain on the force for, you know, more than 2 years. I think the good, virtuous people in law enforcement who join for the right reasons leave after that. So it is what it is. Anyways, if you're really going through this, document. Oh yeah, one last thing before I wrap this up. I did try debating Conspiracy Underground. I don't know if you guys could hear me. If there's anybody here in the chat, if you can hear me, please, can you drop like a 1 in the chat or a thumbs up? Let me know that you can hear me. Anyway, hopefully you can. Looks like we just have a bunch of looky-loos today. But I was willing to debate Conspiracy Underground yesterday, and he ducked me. I provided screenshots in my community post showing that the link he was supposedly sending for me to join his live stream wasn't showing. I actually went live on my StreamYard account and sent him the invite link, and he did not join. So that was the one and only time I was willing to do so. But while we're on that topic, you know, I'll list some key points as to why I believe he's a fake TI and an agent. First and foremost, he trolls way too much, instead of being focused on documentation. Secondly, he says or claims that he gets more one headlight perps than I do. Yet he lives in a rural town, or he lives somewhere rural, not in the city. And it's come out of his own mouth that when you live in the city, you get way more gangstalking activity. So how does that make sense? He claims to get more one headlights than me, yet I've shown way more proof consistently of said one headlights than he has. You know, it's just gaslighting, denying and negating anything you say, and it's just back and forth. It's a pissing contest. He does a lot of doublespeak. You know, he'll go back on his word. He'll say one thing and then literally a minute later say the reverse of it, and he does this constantly. I could give examples, but I'm not going to go into that right now because I don't feel like taking clips of his live streams and wasting my time, you know, stitching them together and making videos and thumbnails. I'm not about to do that, but just watch his live streams. You'll see what I'm talking about. I do have some notes in my phone. So another red flag is he doesn't show his face. He doesn't put his face or his name out there the same way that Turd Gorilla doesn't, because they don't want to be sued for harassment and libel, for slander and libel. That's why he doesn't put his name and face out there, because he does troll some real TIs. And again, I think part of this baiting attempt was to get me to start mentioning some of the other people that he included me in that poll he posted on his community post, so that I could mention them, and that'll give them a reason to start talking shit about me again and up the harassment on me. But, you know, he's been acting like Brandon Q is a fucking real TI, and if there's anybody in this community who has no credibility, it's Brandon Q. That guy's a fucking joke. He's a clown. He doesn't show consistent evidence. It's mainly helicopters, and yeah, asshole, you live in fucking rural New Mexico and it's crime ridden over there. bunch of meth labs out in the desert. Of course, there's going to be all this aerial activity, especially if you live next to an Air Force base or military base. So that doesn't show anything significant. You think he'd have way more to show than just, helicopters over the airspace. But lately, Conspiracy Underground's been trying to say that, Brandon Q could be a real TI, when everybody in this community who's legitimate knows that if anybody doesn't have any credibility in the TI community, it's Brandon Q. And like I said, he's gone back and forth multiple times between calling me a real TI and a fake. And it's nonstop bullshit, just to destroy that narrative of his that I'm a Freemason. Why would a Freemason have a pocket knife that has a square and compass logo crossed out? Secondly, my story, which is a legitimate, credible story as to why this is happening to me, is that I supposedly had made quote-unquote anti-Semitic comments online. The roots of Freemasonry are Jewish. It's Kabbalistic in nature. I can share quotes later on from Jewish Freemasons who have made comments such as, the average Freemason is a dupe and they'll never understand the true goals of Freemasonry as these non-Jew pigs. So they were referring to non-Jewish Freemasons as pigs. I'll share the quote. I forget who it's by, but it's an actual quote. So basically, the roots of Freemasonry are Jewish. Part of why I'm being targeted is for making quote-unquote anti-Semitic comments, which wasn't even anything serious. All I said was F, JEWS. After I learned about, what the Talmud says and about Zionism in depth. But that was the extent of it. I never made threats towards Jewish people. I don't hate all Jewish people. They can't call you a liar, so they call you an anti-Semite. But, if you say anything about these people, they'll have you blacklisted and watchlisted and lie and start kvetching and say that you're a domestic terrorist and a threat and that they're scared. And, they know how to use incendiary language and certain hot button buzzwords to, get sympathy, and they use the shield of anti-Semitism to have your life destroyed. So, yeah, they wouldn't allow somebody like me in Freemasonry. It's just bullshit. He weaponized things that I was transparent about. Again, like me having applied to the sheriff's department, the tattoo in my lip, which I explained it already. I was in the hiring process. I had aced the written test. I'd already, I think at that point, had done one oral interview. I was in backgrounds, and this was for a period of 8 months. So for 8 months, I was in the background process before I got that, the letter saying that, I had to wait a year and reapply again because I was honest about my drug use. But anyways, I was honest about these things, and all he did was weaponize them against me. So that's not really any fucking proof. And it came out of his own mouth in his live stream, I don't know if you're I don't know if you're an agent or not. I was just trolling you. So anyways, that's not real TI behavior. I'm not the one fucking trolling people. Like I said, there's other TIs in this community that I could have easily ran smear campaigns on or talked shit about. Like I said, one of them owes me money. Another TI I donated over $200 to, and we had a falling out. And even despite all that, I've left them alone because I know that they're really going through this. They're going through the same thing I am. So why would I want to add to their pain and suffering? Actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. So with that being said, I'm going to end this live stream. When you guys catch the replay, if you care to, I caught a couple one headlight perps. Actually, sorry, a one headlight perp, and I believe it was a one brake light perp in a red car. If you're really going through this, document, and please smash the like button. It helps boost real TI content in the algorithm. Later.